All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So it's time to talk about the Galaxy S23 Ultra after about 5 complete days. Now, a lot of you guys might not have your unit yet at the recording of this video. It might be out for delivery. It could be anything. But there's a ton of people that have gotten this device because it's actually really good. Now, my intentions were not to purchase this at all, but I had a change of heart once I got a review unit, and I thought, man, I gotta have my own. But that could change once I get my S23 in, because you know, guys, my original order was the S23, and I still prefer the rounded shape of phones over the boxy ones. You know what I mean? Like, I prefer these rounded corners for holding it in your hand like this. This is beautiful. OnePlus 11, by the way, opposed to the boxy design. And that's all personal preference. But for me, this device has been really good. I do own the S22 Ultra. I already own that one. So that was another reason why I was prompted not to just run out and get this one. But I did want to check this out, and I was fortunate enough to get a unit in for review. I've been pretty happy with it, actually. You know, I mean, there's really nothing that this phone can't do, really. My focus has been predominantly on performance, cameras, and battery. But today we're going to just kind of outline how I feel about it after, let's just call it a week. 5 days is not a full week, but 5 days. Because I do need to send this back, and I want to kind of give you some thoughts on it before my personal unit comes in. In 5 days, there's no way I can officially do like this guaranteed, this is how I'm going to feel about it type review. But nonetheless, the S Pen. You hadn't heard me talk about the S Pen the entire time of having this device, because why? We know what the S Pen can do. And in reality, they haven't done too many things different with the S Pen than they have in the past with the other models of the S Pen. So this is nice right here. Allow multiple S Pens. That's pretty nice. Yeah, they've got some security features there. That's pretty nice. You can connect multiple S Pens. Now that I've never seen before. That might be a part of One UI 5.1. That could be, but you can correct me in the comments. I'm open to feedback. But the S Pen really hasn't changed much, folks. It's not much different than the previous generation S Pens, and you can pretty much still do a lot of things with the S Pen that you could do with this pen. Nothing's really changed. I don't navigate the device very much with the S Pen at all. It's such a big display. The only thing I've used the S Pen for was editing and like getting into really tight spots. That is what I prefer to use the S Pen for when I am using the S Pen. Even on my Z Fold 4, I'm using the S Pen to edit and things like that, to get into those spots, to drag that slider, just doing little things like that. I think that's what the S Pen has been good for me. Signatures, obviously, everybody uses that example of signatures. We all do it. We all have signatures on devices. I get it. The fact that we can do it now, and the S Pen is good enough to do that. I wanted to address the S Pen right out the rip. Now, another thing is DeX. I didn't talk about DeX because, see, these are Samsung features, and we already know this phone is going to have DeX. And so it's something that, you know, I use it, but I have to be away from the house to use that. I don't see the purpose in me using DeX at home when I have so many other devices that actually are, I guess, better than DeX, if you will, like the real, like a computer and big monitors and streaming. So I'm not using DeX for anything serious like that at my house. But when I'm on the go, DeX is definitely a feature that I use. It could be for any of the craziest reasons you could think of. I need just to display something somewhere else, watch a movie somewhere else. You know, just other than this very large 6.8-inch display, DeX is where I'm at with it. And I've edited a couple of times on as far as DeX goes, but I'll admit it's not my favorite. I'd rather just turn the device like this and use this big 6.8-inch display and edit right there. I'm comfortable doing that. So yeah, DeX is another feature that I don't discuss very often, but I do use it. I just don't use it as much as other people say they do, and that's just how it is. So the design of this device, it has, I mean, not changed much. I've already shown you a full comparison of the S22 Ultra versus this device. The design hasn't changed much, but they did. The biggest design element that has been changed, and you've heard me say it a million times, is now the flat size and the more squared off sides and corners. It does help with in-hand feel. I admitted that. I said, hey man, this is definitely the biggest changes they've made, was flattening off these sides, and then thus it flattens off the screen a little bit. So having this device already, it just bowls out just a little bit on the sides, and it makes it feel so different in the hand. It's incredible how that little difference in the hardware makes this design so much better. And Samsung designers probably thought it. They probably said, yo, just a little bit here and we can get more people in to use this device. And they did it right. They did it right. This was a great change for the lineup, was to flatten out those sides on the back. Now the camera bumps are a little bit different, but ultimately, I still like my S22 Ultra. I don't think I would ever get rid of that probably. It's too good of a device to just ditch on just because this one's come out. And also the trade-in values are bad for people who don't have a custom color. You know, they're pretty much really suck and win. They don't, the trade-in values, we don't want to go over that right now in this video, but they're pretty bad. That was just something that happened this year, and we all discussed it, and it is what it is. I think people are over it now, and there were a lot of good deals out there on that. But we'll talk about price and stuff later. But hardware and design, folks, same pretty much iconic design, if you will, of this display and this body and just everything about it. The S Pen, the loudspeakers. The speakers on here definitely are a little bit better than the previous generation. If I'm being honest, they are a little bit better. I think you would probably, I can't say they're just so much more flawless and everything, but you will find that these speakers are really loud. You're going to find that they are extremely loud in comparison to some other devices in this category. And then also the S22 Ultra has very loud speakers, but these are somewhat a little bit louder. All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So it's time to bring you the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. This is the cream variant. I'll have a link down below where you can grab this from. I told you guys I was trying to get a video fired up for you here. I don't know why it's buffering on my Wi-Fi. Come on, buddy. The unit in for review, and here it is. So let's crack this open here, and I'm going to jump straight into this. I'm not going to, because there's really no unboxing to be done, really. Yeah, the speakers on here are just, they're really good, man. I mean, besides the speakers, the quality of the display is really good too. So, I mean, I'm impressed with the speakers. I've heard people talk about the speakers and say that they were really, really good. And I tested them out myself, obviously, and I'm thinking, yeah, they're right. These are really, really good. And I don't think a person will have a complaint about the speakers. I don't. They are that good. They are that good. So if you're a person who enjoys consumption of media, you are going to love these. You're going to love these. You're going to love the speakers on here. You'll be impressed enough to where you say, well, see, some of you guys might not have the S22 Ultra, but for people who have the S22 Ultra, they know, they know that these speakers are just a tad bit more clear, I guess, a tad bit more loud in volume. Just certain things make them boost a little bit, but it's not something that's just like mind blowing, but it's good enough. So hardware on there, speakers, screen, everything with that is absolutely great. And if in fact you do have the S22 Ultra, I'm sure you're not willing to just give up your device. I'm certain you're probably not. But if you do switch to this, there are some bumps. And the bumps, meaning these 3 bumps on the back here, these cameras, you now have a 200 megapixel camera on the back, and it's going to be more than enough to please most people, especially the tech enthusiasts. They should love this, man. Tech enthusiasts are probably going to love this device. They're probably going to love it. So there's just so much going on here with these cameras. And I would say, I guess people with social media, because social media is a thing now. It's more along the lines of the best quality, I guess I want to say. And these are kicking down some of the best quality ever. And I'm seeing some things, and everybody gets an opinion on what they think is great. Yeah, and what they think is not great. These cameras are great, folks. All I do is I would prefer to just show you instead of just kind of writing a long article about it and all sort of stuff. And I think I would say the people who might be disappointed with this, it's probably going to be people who are, I guess I could somewhat consider them professionals, or they think they're professionals. Yeah, they might be the ones that would say that these are just okay or mediocre or just not that impressive. But these cameras, folks, I've shown them to you. I think I've done my due diligence I'm still working on the camera review, and I will get that out to you. But I think I've shown you enough to where you would have, because I put up a video, and I've also been recording videos on the channel with this, folks. I've been recording videos on the channel with this to show you how well these things could actually do. So yeah, man, I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. I think these are more than enough cameras for most people. But some people will probably argue they're not enough. But again, if you consider yourself a professional, you might not be too impressed with these cameras. Me, on the other hand, and like 99% of the world are probably really impressed with these cameras and would have no problems with it. Now, performance is something. This has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or whatever, 4nm chip basically. And I think a person, see, the reason the performance is going down on my list is because One UI 5 is nice, and One UI 5.1 is even better. Samsung's UI is solid, to say the least. I haven't had any kind of failures or anything with this software. There's been no problems with it. It's just been really, really solid. It's been really good. And so I don't have a complaint about the software. And if you're wondering about how the software is affected by like the battery and things like that, this is where I'm leading into this. My battery life is okay. It's still learning my behavior, but I know how much it lasts, and it lasts a full day. But I'm not getting like 8 hours of screen on time. I'm getting between 5.5 and 6.5, but that's still decent battery. That's actually pretty solid battery, I guess. It's just that on my Ultra, my 22 Ultra, I'm getting way more. That battery is almost a year old, and it's broken in. It knows my behaviors really well, and it's just a good look. It's a good look. I mean, there's no getting around it. The S22 Ultra is broken in already for me, and so this one is still trying to get broken in. And then the fact that it's a unit that I have to send back soon, it'll never really learn me out. That's why I decided I'm going to have to just buy my own. But battery life on here, along with performance and software and everything like that, it's good, man. It's solid battery. I wish I could get more battery out of it, obviously. Now, I don't measure by screen on time, so I'm talking about standby time. I wish I can get 2 to 3 days out of this. I wish they would optimize it even better to get more out of it. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, but overall, folks, the price of this thing is where a lot of people feel some type of way. I think they increased the price by like $70 on the smaller ones and $90 on these bigger models. But the fact remains that this is, in fact, a solid device. It performs great in so many areas. I mean, how can you hate it? I guess I want to say it is Samsung's flagship at the moment. And it's competing with the likes of the OnePlus 11, and it's competing with the likes of phones like this. And it may be able to beat the OnePlus 11 in the camera area, or it might be able to beat it in some areas, but it doesn't beat it in every area. And same thing with the OnePlus 11 and any other phone I have. But this has kind of like become, unfortunately, the Pixels are not considered by many the golden standard. This is my Pixel 7 Pro. I think I said it before. Google, you need to sell this case. But the Pixel doesn't seem to be the standard for Android. It seems like Samsung has people have taken Samsung and put them in that spot as the standard for Android because of how many people know Samsung devices and how many are sold and things like that, versus Google just kind of getting their feet planted, I guess, and making a bigger push. I'll say that. They've had their feet planted. They're just making a bigger push now with the 6 and 7 lineup. These last 2 years have been their biggest push, and people talk about sales. I don't really personally care about sales, but people are saying that the 7 lineup, or these last 3 devices that came out, the 6A, the 7 Pro, which I have all over there, they all sold better than any Pixel that they've possibly ever sold. So up to you to determine what you think is a great device. I think after 5 days with this, man, this thing is crazy. It is really good. And wait until you see my official camera review. I'll bring that to you later. I do have, I'm transitioning now over to start using this device as my daily, and we'll see how that works. I also have other devices coming in that I purchased from Samsung, and I'll use both of those side by side until I can get this one back in for my personal unit. But I did buy the other one, and you'll see that soon. But it's your man Jay. I think I've answered some questions. I know I can't answer them all, but it's up to you to determine what you think might be the solid device for you. Dislikes, cons. There's always some dislikes and some cons. I still favor the more rounded design. That's just me. So that is why I purchased the other variant of the S23 lineup. I prefer this size right here, like this rounded corners. I don't care how great this device is. My preference is not to have a squared off device, because once you hold something like this, it just feels so much better than this. So that's still my only con. I know a lot of you guys love the boxy design. Personally, it is not my first choice in a design. They could have the same design, same size and everything, and just round off these corners some more, and it would feel great to me. So it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's time to get it on, man. What do you think about the Galaxy S23 Ultra? How have you been liking it so far? If you got the cream, man, I think you got one of the better colors. The graphite and the cream appear to be my favorite colors now that I've seen them. So it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned, stay locked. I got more videos coming and more content coming, and the S23 Ultra's camera review should be coming along pretty soon. It's your man Jay. See you in the next one. Take care.